We have with us today uh, Sangeeta Barooah Pisharoty of the Wire, and she has been in the Northeast and been keeping a close watch on the current situation arising in Manipur. So just let me come straight to the question. How do you perceive things? You have been in Northeast, you are from Assam, you have been in Manipur many years, and you've been keeping a close watch on the current situation. We'll leave about the cause and the classes, about the present scenario of the trouble still brewing under the state government and the national, the center not intervening in this particular episode. Please give your thoughts on this.
See, first thing I want to say is like it's actually so sad to see a beautiful state like Manipur going through so much of strife. Okay, so much of deaths and thousands of people staying in relief camps on both sides, Cookies and Métis. Okay, and there has never been, to my knowledge, any history of Cookie Métis fight. Okay, this is the first time I've seen, and I've seen it like in the most worst form. Okay, so that obviously, as a Northeast watcher, I've began thinking what must be the reasons. Okay, so before we go into the reasons, the first thing that hit my mind, when this May 3 thing happened, is how is it that there is an elected government in place? Okay, there is proper police, and we all know what Manipur Commandos is. They are most equipped and to control things. It has been seeing conflict for so many years. Okay, and then what we hear is that their police stations have been looted with thousands of arms taken. Okay, just like, and the chief minister is also the home minister. So who's in control? So obviously your finger will be pointed at the chief minister. Okay, that I see, for 1 or 2 days, if anything happens, things go out of control, but things can be brought under control. But we are talking now in August, things are not in control yet. So then the obvious question that comes to one's mind as a journalist is also then, what is the chief minister doing? And then the next question is, why is New Delhi putting so much trust on a man who's not been able to bring the state under control, the law and order under control? Okay, so then that is the most baffling question to me as a journalist and as someone who's been reporting on Manipur.
So, the basically chief minister being the head of the government, he has to be made accountable. If this sort of violence had happened anywhere in the Northeast, what do you think would be the ramifications?
See, I come from Assam. We have seen multiple conflicts, ethnic conflicts I'm talking about, okay? All kinds of army action also, and plus ethnic conflicts, okay? At a different era, from 70s, 80s, 90s to the 2000s, we have seen thousands of people going to the relief camps, staying. This is not new for Northeast, okay? Houses being burned is unfortunate, but those things happen, okay? But for the first time, I've also seen that one community's men going and, raping another community's women. This is something new for me and very difficult as a Northeastern woman to accept this. This is something I must point out. Okay, and then the other thing is, as you said, is the government has to be in control. Why do we elect a government? It can be from any political party. But if you are elected, and this time it's a full-fledged BJP government, okay, that means people have trusted this party, this leader, okay, this is a second term, has been trusted. So if you, and from both sides we see that even the Cookies are also saying that he should go. There's a strong Métis voice from within the community saying that he should go. See, community will fight a community, but the government has to be in place to bring everything under control so that people's lives are saved, property is saved, okay? And we saw so much of devastation now, yet the man reigns.
We have at least 70,000 to 80,000 troops, central troops.
Correct.
Being deployed since the first week of May, since the violence started. Now, people are questioning about where they are and what purpose they are being put for. And if you've seen a ratio like a population of 30 lakhs and we have around at least 1 lakh troops on the ground, central troops. And if you get a state troops, there's about 35,000 of Manipur police commandos, police, IRB, the MR, etc., etc. Now, do you think that these forces are not adequate enough to control the situation, say give or take, maybe at the most, what, 48 hours, 1 week? What do you think is the purpose
No,
of
that's the
keeping?
most baffling question. We all are, looking at that. You don't need so much of security forces actually to control a small state. Okay, and where and incidentally, the central government has removed APSPA from the valley areas. Why have you removed it? Because you think that the peace has come to that region. So that means, in other words, you don't need so many security forces, so much of troops. Okay, but even if you send, the biggest question I hear now, both my friends in Manipur and in Delhi are also asking the same question: where are they? What are they doing? Now that we are getting all kinds of reports coming of violence, where are they? What are they doing? Who's assigned them where? Okay, so this is something. And another thing I found it strange this time is that state police and the Assam Rifles fighting between themselves. This is something quite strange, like state police filing an FIR against Assam Rifles filing an FIR against some politician. This is like a strange situation in a conflict place, where there is so much of life at stake. You just join forces, but here we don't see any joint force, only finger pointing at each other. And plus, then in that whole finger pointing process, also we are losing the most important point which you have asked, that where are the security forces? Okay, so this is a question in everybody's mind. We need to ask this to the Chief Minister and to New Delhi actually. Where are they? What are they doing on the ground?
Now, on that particular note, what about the silence? The silence at the parliament, at the Lok Sabha, people have been questioning that even the opposition has raised a huge role in parliament, as you have seen. So, do you think that this silence is something, because it's quite deafening? The silence is indeed deafening, because to us, we wanted a deliberation of sorts. One wanted on the Manipur issue, and it as deserving show. So, do you think there's some agenda why the central leaders are keeping quiet on this particular
See,
matter?
it's actually, having grown up in the Northeast, we have always, at the back of our minds, it has always been there that New Delhi is quite far away. It is like in Assam, I've grown up during the Assam agitation days when people talked about stepmotherly attitude of New Delhi. This is what the narrative has been. But when Narendra Modi came, he said, now no more distance. I'll be coming multiple times. My ministers will be coming everywhere. We will develop Northeast, and you are now coming closer. Okay, people like that. Let me tell you, across the region, people like them. If you see the governments being formed in one state after another, it's also a reflection of that. Then we see that the prime minister goes completely silent, as if nothing is happening. Okay, so then that makes you think, what is wrong? Why is this silence? And what is it that the center is gaining by being silent? Okay, so that is one thing is there in the back of everybody's mind, and so is mine. Okay, so but then when this horrifying video that came out, okay, that it went viral, the prime minister was forced to speak.
Yes.
But unfortunately, he spoke outside of parliament,
Yes.
not inside the parliament. That's the temple of democracy. You should have defended that. You should have said. You should have sent out a message. It would have been such a balm for people, I would say. Okay, because we all come from the periphery, and we know if New Delhi, it doesn't need to weep. Even one tear comes out, you realize that they are there with you. So that didn't happen this time. So I think on both sides, be it the cookies or the Métis, they are all very, very. It has not gone unnoticed, I think. So let's see what happens after this. But yes, this whole silence point from the prime minister's, from starting from the prime minister, it's there, and the parliament also, didn't take it up. As it should have been. There should have been a proper discussion on it, but that didn't happen. Okay, and then also when the prime minister spoke, he was speaking like a political leader. He pointed things at some Rajasthan or some opposition ruled states and all that. You can always raise those issues later. Okay, but you are speaking as a prime minister at a point in time when these women were paraded naked. This is the first time we've seen in the Northeast this kind of a thing happening. People are waiting, looking at you to comment, to say that from tomorrow onwards things will be in place. Or you reach yourself, if you would have just gone even to Imphal also, okay, for 1 hour, people would have loved it, I'll tell you. Okay, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. So it will remain as a point of history, as something that has gone amiss.
Yes. They'll definitely go down in history, in infamy. But now, in the present situation, what we see here is like the public and especially the Kokomi, they have been demanding a emergency assembly session on this particular violence, which has never happened in the past, and I think this sort of magnitude will not happen in future also. Fingers crossed. But now we have seen today that opposition has walked out from the state
Correct.
assembly. There's one day sitting, and the opposition demanded that there should be at least a 5-day
Correct.
sitting of this monsoon session. So, do you think that the BJP state government is just like, what do you say, avoiding all this exercise of democracy?
Yeah, exactly. I've actually written today in the morning, in my written report, that how should be looked as a constitutional aberration. It comes across to me like it's interesting that the governor, though the state cabinet had recommended that there should be an assembly session, okay, so the governor didn't entertain that initially. Finally, I'm sure at the New Delhi's behest, she had to do, and she did. But it is only turned out to be only one day. It is begin on the same day and end on the same day. And this, let me tell you, it's a regular monsoon session. So regular monsoon session happening only for a day is actually Manipur somewhere has created history today. Okay, it's like it's complete this thing of the it has created a history. Never created history. And before that, Arunachal had created a history in 2015 when the assembly session was held at a community hall. Okay, so, and we were all shocked at that time that what is happening. And then, of course, matters came to Supreme Court then. But today Manipur has achieved some sort of an infamous some chapter in the Manipur political history. Okay, and then the other thing is, it was all expected because of the opposition to walk out. When the speaker called for the meeting day before, they all walked out because they realized that this is only to keep the president's rule at bay. Because you have to, by mandatorily, you have to hold the next assembly session within 6 months, by September 4th. So you have to do something. But if you make it longer, then the fingers will be pointed at the state government, at the state police, which is under the home minister, who is also the chief minister. So a lot of things may go out of hand. So, and then what would opposition do? It had to walk out. I was very sure from the morning onwards that, they will do the same thing, and this is what has happened. So, as we said, Northeast is creating history, which we actually would not more like to be part of.
Yes. People and the political observers are saying of the lack of moral spine, ethical, the stance of the politicians, and in such a time when Manipur needs them the most to make very acute decisions in the interest of the public and also of the communities in Manipur. Now, what would you say as an observer is the way forward, in a way, to bring about peace and reconciliation?
Way forward will be brought only by the community leaders. Way forward in the Northeast has never been brought by politicians who are interested only in their own political career. Never happened. It has never happened. They've only created trouble in the region. So my appeal and the request to all community elders is that somewhere come together, bring peace, because you have to stay together as neighbors, and you cannot choose your neighbors. Okay, you have to live in some sort of peace with each other. You cannot be at each other's throat because some vested interest is behind you. This is something, the larger story, larger reality has to dawn on all sides. Okay, not just in Manipur, across our region. I feel that's the most important thing, because you cannot choose neighbors. You have to only make peace with neighbors.
So even if differences are there, you have to sit down and hammer out a solution of sorts. And I believe that what we expected from the state government, the BJP state government, did not materialize in reality, and the people are still left to fend for themselves and the communities also. Thank you for giving us a few moments of your time,
Thank you
Sangeeta.
so much.
I hope
Thank you.
we'll catch you again next time.